Thank you, guys. As we heard earlier this morning, King Charles has been seen in public for the first time since his shock cancer diagnosis, travelling alongside Queen Camilla. And not only has his health scare made global headlines, it's also rattled the British royal family to the core.
Yeah, Prince Harry's flown into the UK to meet with his father, while William also continues to care for his wife, who's also recovering from surgery. So what does the King's illness mean for the rest of the establishment? And will it help reconcile the royal rift between the brothers?
Royal commentator Angela Mollard joins us live to tell us more. Good morning to you, Ange. Royal family have stayed tight-lipped on what type of cancer the King has. Are we likely to get any more information? When would we hear more?
I think we'll get more information in terms of his prognosis, about how his treatment is going. I don't think we'll get actual, sort of definitive answers on what type of cancer he has. One of the arguments for that has been that if you are specific about the type of cancer, you're not talking to all people who should be checking their cancer. Look at maybe one factor, and I think the other factor is, of course, privacy. You know, he wants to retain a degree of privacy as any ordinary person would.
Princess Catherine, also recovering from that operation of a couple of weeks now. More pressure on William, isn't it?
He is the absolute sandwich generation guy, isn't he? He's got elderly parents who are now, his dad is ill, needing care. He's got young children at school. They're off for half term next week. Look, we know he's going back to work tomorrow. He's got an investiture at Windsor Castle, and then he's got a London Air Ambulance fundraising gala in the evening. But after that, he's got the following week off as his children are at home. So, look, he will have to step up. There's a lot of conversations apparently happening between him and the King, but his priority is his family still, and, of course, Kate at this time.
Gee, the royal family's really changed the way they talk about health, isn't it? Because for many, many years, we didn't hear all this about the Queen.
We heard nothing, and in fact, it was very secretive, and the media lost it a couple of years ago when the Queen went into hospital. It must have been more than a couple, because she died in 2022, just before that, and we were not told. So it was just said that she was, unwell, or she had mobility issues, and it was subsequently found out that she was in hospital, and there was, understandably some uproar. But if you go back even further, back to the 1950s, when the Queen's father, King George VI, actually had a lung removed, it was put down to the sort of wording was structural abnormalities. There was an operation for that. He had, in fact, lung cancer, had his left lung removed, and died 5 months later. Right. He himself was never properly told that he had lung cancer. So huge difference in this time in terms of how we both speak to the monarch about it, but also how it is told to the public.
So we've seen the pictures this morning. Harry has flown from the US into the UK. Shots of him there in London. They've had a meeting. Russell Myers told us it was about 30 minutes long. And then Camilla and Charles on a helicopter to Sandringham. What do we read into all of that? What do you think this says for the relationship?
Well, look, number one, he's jumped on a plane straight away, so good on him. Short meeting. Apparently, according to the Times, the King is tired from his treatment yesterday. Presumably, he's going to Sandringham to recuperate. Harry went from Clarence House to Buckingham Palace. I don't know if he's going to stay there. Where he stays, of course, is interesting. But I think the big question is this just a flying visit to look good, or is this the grounds for potential reconciliation? Remember, Charles and his son haven't sat down in person and spoken properly since September 2022 when the Queen died. So here's hoping there is some reconciliation.
Well, this wasn't a proper conversation at 30 minutes.
No, it certainly wasn't.
What's your hunch, Ange? What are you thinking?
Oh, look, the King doesn't want unrest with his sons. He would love nothing better than them to be together. He said, of course, as Harry reported in Spare, boys, please don't make my last years a misery. I don't think Charles is the sticking point. I think it's William that will. The Times is reporting that absolutely not. William is not. There is nothing in the diary, and there is no intention from William to see his brother. But at least father and son are talking, and face to face.
We were chatting off camera with Peter Ford, who did point out this morning that when Meghan Markle's dad had a stroke, she didn't go and visit him.
Yeah.
That there was no contact. So interestingly now, a cancer diagnosis for Harry's dad, and he's on a plane.
And straight away,
what that says.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Meghan hasn't come. I think it's her fear of how she's seen, how she is perceived. There's obviously a lot more antipathy in Britain for her than there is for Harry.
Can Harry and William meet without us knowing? Is there a way that Is there a way these guys can sit down and have a beer without all the
Look,
fuss?
there's a conversation at the moment that the guy that Mark Dyer, who had cancer himself, he worked for both William and Harry when they were teenagers. There's some conversation that if anyone could get them together quietly, it's him. He's still in contact with both Harry and William. I think it will require an intermediary like that, and I think it could happen very privately. I mean, for years, Charles and Camilla met in private and we knew nothing about it. So, you know, the likelihood...
There are rooms, there are spare places to go.
There are friends' homes.
Yeah. If we can just quickly move on to Princess Diana, there's been claims about her in a new book.
Very interesting. Ingrid Seibert's book, which has got some great stuff in it, interestingly, has come out with the Queen apparently thinking that Prince Andrew would have been a better husband for Diana than Charles. He was, of course, only 21 when they met, when Diana was 19. There's also another claim in the book that at the night of Andrew's 21st birthday, Diana was dancing by herself. She was engaged to Charles at the stage. Charles wasn't dancing with her, and she went that morning, 5:30 in the morning, drove to see her father and said, "I don't want to marry this man." Now, this corroborates what she said to her sister about not wanting to get married. Her father apparently convinced her, and as we know, her sister told her, "Darling, too bad, your face is on the tea towels." So, yeah, there were two now pieces of information about her wanting to pull out of that wedding. But she was still deeply in love. She's always said she was deeply in love.
I think history shows that Prince Andrew wouldn't have been a really good husband for
probably
anybody.
not a good pick.
For anybody. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Danish royals for a tick. Queen Mary, our Queen Mary, shared this photo for her birthday. What can we read into her choice of pick?
I love this photo.
It's great,
I love the plait. I love the sunglasses on the head. I love her dad's expression. Is this a snub to her husband? Look, there's a lot of conversation about this.
Is that what they're saying?
Well, the fact is that, you know, it speaks volumes about the fact that 2 years ago it was all about the lovely portrait for her 50th birthday and her husband saying, "Oh, wow, doesn't she look amazing?" and a ring on her finger that he apparently gave her at their engagement. This year, there's no mention of Frederick in this birthday message. It's all about her and her dad, and the picture was taken by her son, Prince Vincent. Look, it could be just a lovely daughter has been home, wants to, you know, remember her dad.
Oh, your story works better for us.
Yeah.
We'll take the first one.
No, I reckon she said, Frederick has had enough pictures lately. His face has been everywhere lately. He's had enough coverage.
Yeah, but, you know, Mary's smart, and she knows how this will be read. She knows that questions will be asked about it. I think it could be a little bit of a dig at her husband.
Good. Ange, thank you. I guess we'll be seeing plenty more of you in the weeks, days and weeks ahead, I guess.
Oh, hopefully for good news.
Lots to chat about.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
Ange.
Ange.